Donald Trump, former president of the United States, bashing his former Attorney General, William, they call him Bill Barr. Let's go to it. Former President Donald Trump has now started to attack not political opponents, but a guy not running for president. He attacked his former Attorney General Bill Barr on Truth Social Sunday. This was Sunday afternoon after it was only the beginning, as it turned out, speaking on New York's WABC radio with his longtime confidant, Roger Stone, who he pardoned back in 2020, by the way. Trump, at 3 different points in the conversation, went after Barr over his assessment that Trump is toast if half of what is charged in the 37-count federal indictment against him is true. This thing is a disgrace, Trump said, of the indictment against him. And virtually everybody other than a lowlife like Bill Barr, who, as you know, I terminated because he was gutless. He wouldn't do what you're supposed to do, but everybody says this is a disgraceful indictment. Really? Everybody? Trump? The people running against you don't seem to think so. Also, you're at about 31% in popularity. I'm gonna get into that in just a moment. Later in the interview with his crime buddy, Roger Stone, Stone posed a question to Donald Trump: whether the man he installed as the nation's chief law enforcement officer was secretly working against him. Do you believe that former Attorney General Bill Barr is in fact part of the deep state? Stone asked. Trump refused to go quite that far. Now, I want to give you some insight here. These gentlemen, if I can call them that for the sake of the commentary, they planned the content before the interview. He knew the general direction of the questioning. It was the moment to say something against Bill Barr and to plant the new narrative. Now, here's what will happen. Conservatives will start calling Bill Barr a member of the deep state. This is a way to discredit anything he says from this point beyond. That's all Trump needed to do. And in order for Trump to do this successfully, he has to stop being the only one who basically puts the title of deep state on everybody. So Roger Stone is the guy with Donald Trump simply in the room. The base of Trump, they are well aware of what their orders are. This is also, in an indirect way, jury tampering before the jury is selected. He's trying to influence the mass appeal as it relates to this narrative and the charges against him. There's more. I think he's a coward, he says. I think he's a coward who didn't do his job. He said, adding, we had unbelievable people, as you know, in the administration. But we also had some that we got wrong, and Bill Barr was a mistake. The former president went on to take a personal shot at Barr, quote, and now he goes and he sits down. If they can find a chair for him, because it's not that easy. And he sits down and he just bloviates, and it's disgraceful. Trump said it's actually unpatriotic. It's so bad for our country, just so bad. But he's got a lot of hatred. Trump literally is describing himself. Word for word, go back, read it, put Trump in your intent factor here, and it fits 100%. Trump literally is the personification of privilege. He can't see himself. He's unaware. He's not conscious. He has no ability to analyze his own behavior. Isn't that ironic? Completely ironic that when he was running for president and all of the Christian evangelicals were supporting Donald Trump, Trump got a question during one of these interviews where the interviewer asked if Trump had ever asked God to forgive him. Trump thought about it. And he said, no, I haven't. wait a minute, according to Christian evangelicals, you cannot be a born again believer unless you have repented, requested God to forgive you. That interview is still available on YouTube, has millions of views. That did not faze Christian evangelicals because their movement was never really about spirituality or righteousness. The movement was a political movement at its core, and a political movement trenched in the ideology of white male dominance. That's what it was about. The Bible was just one avenue to get you there. Politics was another. There's more. According to a new poll, even after Trump's indictment, according to a new poll from ABC News and Ipsos, which was conducted after the indictment against former President Donald Trump was announced, Trump's favorability rating stands at 31%. You may say, well, whoa, that's low. That's actually up 6 points from the last time the survey was conducted in early April. Trump's unfavorable rating comes in at 56%, which is down 5 points from where it was April. Now, let's talk about Biden's numbers, because Biden's numbers are virtually the same as Trump's. Biden doesn't have multiple criminal indictments against him, endless civil lawsuits, horrible negatives on record to the tune of Donald Trump. Why does Biden have such negatives, even inside of the Democratic Party? Failure of delivery. Delivery of what you campaigned on. When I interviewed Vice President Harris, that interview is available for those who Google it. I made it very clear. You all are going to have a problem if you don't deliver. She pivoted to this, well, we gave you Ketanji Brown, Jackson. We gave you some things, but you did not give us the resume. You had a resume. That did not get delivered. All right, we should see how it develops. Mr. Mayor, what are your thoughts about this continuing saga?
A couple things here. I think people shouldn't breeze over this idea of the Biden disapproval ratings equal or favorability ratings equal to Trump's because of their lack of ability to deliver. That is a real thing. Black people aren't used to getting their way in America. So we're not asking the Biden administration to show up in a way where you give us everything you said. But what we don't like is when you swear on your last name, like he did standing in Georgia, saying if black people gave him the 2 senators that we gave him in 2020, when we gave him the White House, that he would fight like hell and make us his priority, make our issues his priority. What black people have not seen from this administration is that we are a priority to them. We've not seen a fight. You can lose fighting for black people and wouldn't lose any support. His favorabilities would have been a lot higher had he been fighting on our behalf. You can't wait to midterm election to start talking about the George Floyd Act. You can't wait to midterm to start talking about controversial issues when you had control of both of that legislative branches. So on top of that, you go back to Donald Trump, like you said, he's projecting to the utmost. We know that. Bill Barr has one of the greatest resumes as it pertains to Republican bona fides. This guy worked with Ronald Reagan, then George H.W., and then this. So in any normal terms, Bill Barr would be the epitome of what Republicans were looking for, not Donald Trump. But like you said, Christian nationality has become Donald Trump's nationality, which is all about whiteness and white male privilege. And I think America can pretend all they want to, and the 31% of people that support Trump can pretend all they want to, but this is a white movement, period.
Yeah, stoked in an ideology we have deemed to be inappropriate for this country.